I was fortunate enough, I managed to grab some time with Jerr Boschee when both of us were in Dublin fairly recently. Jerr Boschee, for me, one of the godfathers of the social enterprise movement, really, in the States particularly, but his words of wisdom has been put around in many, many places throughout the world. Jerr, the theme for our conference this year is Ready, Willing and Able. Now, this is our first Welsh Social Enterprise Conference. We have our own challenges within the sector, that is for sure, and I think they're pretty much recognised by many of those who will be watching this. But give me a global perspective on social enterprise worldwide. Is it ready, willing and able?
It's different in every country. I think that's the thing we need to understand before we talk about anything else. You go, as I move, I've been to 20 countries now, talking with people, learning from people, and every time I go someplace, I learn something new and I learn something different. Because in the United States, for example, the government has never been involved in developing social enterprise. In the UK, it has been driven by the government. In a country like Bangladesh, it was born at the moment the country was born and began to grow. But when you ask the question about ready, willing, and able, it always brings me down to individual entrepreneurs. Are they ready, and are they willing, and are they able? It's not so much organizations, because organizations often get in the way, but it's the individuals themselves. Do they have the want to? Genuinely entrepreneurial and not fooling themselves. I mean, the lack of candor is devastating if they try to do this and they really don't understand what they're doing. So my focus is right on the ground with individuals, even within organizations or outside, who are trying to get these things started. And I never tell somebody that their social enterprise idea is a bad idea, because it's something they have to find out for themselves. I don't want to kill their enthusiasm, because they may not have a good idea now, but in a certain way they're ready, willing, and able because of who they are. And if they can learn about the glitches in their current idea themselves without losing their enthusiasm or doubting their own talents, they're going to eventually find the idea that works.
That's an interesting perspective. I must admit, it's probably something that I can resonate on a personal basis as well. I think probably a bit like you and the people with whom you've worked, and certainly from my own personal perspective, and indeed a number of people I've seen as I've travelled throughout Wales, as I sort of try and spread the gospel for the coalition. I think one of the more polite expressions about social entrepreneurs and people like us is a pain in the neck, difficult to handle, challenge. But I think we are those kind of beasts, aren't we? But I think also is that we have a new Labour government now. We have a minister who I honestly believe is going to help create that environment where we can encourage, do the due diligence, but go try, create an environment where we're going to have people who will thrive in that supportive environment.
Well, it's the creating of an enabling environment that is the proper role, I believe, of the government, as opposed to creating an environment that begins to strangle the initiatives. And that has happened in some countries around the world, where the government has begun to dictate. And as soon as you dictate, the entrepreneurial instinct disappears and the entrepreneur runs in the other direction. So if we can find the proper mix of government support with entrepreneurial energy, then you've got something. Then you've got something that can work. Yeah. And creating that enabling environment is a very delicate thing, because, as you said, you've got to be able to recognize on the government's part that a lot of what these people try isn't going to work. And they have to go into this, the government, knowing that a lot of the money they put here is not going to bear fruit there, but will eventually bear fruit over there.
It's the long game, isn't it?
It is.
It's the long game. And it's seeing, I suppose, recognizing that, well, I might be crossing everything that I do. I'm going to, we can deliver your funding on the basis of what it is you've written, but also recognizing the fact. And I have to say, when I was running Packet, I had such a creative board who I know for a fact crossed every limb they possibly could, thinking, I wonder if this is going to work. Yeah. But we need, as you say, that really is that enabling environment.
Mm-hmm. We need to have people, if only a kitchen cabinet of people around us, who will be honest with us, That's the greatest aspect of enabling, as far as I'm concerned. Enabling in the positive sense of the word, to make sure that we're not fooling ourselves about our idea, about our market, about our team, about our potential customers, about our competition. Because as entrepreneurs, we want to believe in it. Yeah. And we need to have some people who will look us in the eye and say, no, that is not working. That's an important aspect of being able to enable an entrepreneur to succeed, is to have people who are not yes-sayers all the time.
I think it comes back to, I can remember a conversation that you and I had quite a few years ago, but is also this being brave enough to say, no, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I was going back a while ago, I went to see Dove Workshops down in Banwan in West Wales, and there's a lady there. We sort of started the conversation, and there was an instant hit there, because I thought, you're just like me. Yeah. You're just like, but she was certainly ready, willing, and more than able. And the truth of the matter is, she probably didn't even realize she was able at the time. But for me, that has been one of the most exciting experiences that I've had, running a social enterprise, and now looking throughout Wales and what's going on. And there's some seriously inspirational stuff going on out there. The tragedy is that we're not good enough about telling people how good we are.
Well, there is that. But there's also the fact that there are people out there who are doing it successfully, as you have said. They haven't found each other yet. It's one of the things you're bringing about in Wales. And once they start to find each other, then the stories begin to get told. And you tell 3 people but good stories, you know how it all goes. So eventually the story is going to emerge. But as we think about how this whole thing gets knitted together over time, it's again going to come back to individual success stories by these individual organizations. It's always going to come back to that basis. And whether it's a genuine entrepreneur who's ready, willing, and able, and it may cause them to fail 3 times before they find the one that works. But entrepreneurs don't get discouraged. They get disappointed, which is a different thing, of course, but they don't get discouraged. And if you've got the right person, and that person finds the right idea, magic will happen. And I always tell people not to quit until the miracle happens.
I think that's a great line. It's almost a line, I suppose we could tie this up, really. But I just hope that the conference, as our conference runs on, perhaps this conversation alone is going to help get people some really good ideas. Think, well, actually, yes, I can. But also to start sharing with each other what is it we can do. And these kind of scenarios, when people said to me, I would never do that again, I've tried it 3 times, is learning from other people's experiences about the pitfalls, and as you say, those disappointments, but ultimately the long game. And if we can get it all together, not only in Wales, but the UK and globally, and it's a bit of a trite phrase now, but we can deliver some serious social benefits.
The people who are watching this video, who have taken they've come to the conference, they've taken the time, they have the energy. These people are my heroes. These are the people who are changing the world. And I've seen it happen in country after country after country. And you folks out there, ones who can make the difference, and you can do it. It doesn't matter what goes wrong now, it matters what you do next. And what you do next is going to change the world.
But equally, as I say, there is a need to be brave. You will be challenged. It will be hard. It will be incredibly lonely at times. And I say, we speak from first-hand experience. But ultimately, if we all of us individually keep coming and chipping away, the movement becomes bigger, the movement becomes stronger, and ultimately we can deliver. Thanks for your time, Jim.
Thanks, John.